Good afternoon, wherever you're getting our signal this afternoon, this morning, this evening. This is the signature tune that introduces the voices. The voices mean that of Tio, that of Anthony Jeffa, and of course, Nutwa Wanda. Good afternoon, Monrovia. Good afternoon, Liberia. Hey, how the political landscape this afternoon? Is that okay? That's the program ABC Hard Talk. This is what we talk, the talk hard before the character assassination. So you better tune in to learn more. What do we have on the plate this afternoon? We got a lot on the plate to give you, man. We will be taking in this afternoon. Our first guest will be that of Mr. David Dunn. He's a former deputy assistant minister. For Press and Public Affairs. I would say at the Ministry of Defense. I think he will better introduce someone. He come with that. So he'll be our first guest this afternoon. We'll be talking a lot of things this afternoon. Peaceful election, concern of use on drugs, and of course, the biggest news: the dismissal of Minister Cooper Kura and replacing him with another Nibayan. Is it that we are intolerant of one another as what's going on, or what is the situation now in Liberia? So we'll be going to that too to find out what is it going on. So be there. I'm here, and I will do the best we can to make sure that we give you what music, entertainment, education can provide. All right, so that be there while we enjoy the best this platform can bring to your doorstep. Then, of course, coming on the flip side of 5 o'clock, Dr. Charles Bolly. He's one of Liberia's youngest educator. He's the executive director of Free Liberia, a foundation for research, education, and empowerment. He too will be talking about Liberian educational sector, your work at the Free Liberia. You got an organization called Free Liberia. So we'll be talking more about education, how he see it. So that's what we have on the menu for the day for you. So stick and stay around and let's enjoy the best in discussion. Take a few bars for this song, and of course the next voice we'll be hearing will be that of my guest and myself. This is exclusively for our production team. And from the production team, and of course, our editor, chief editor, he'll be celebrating his birthday tomorrow. That Ishmael Smith. So this one is for him. Say, I'm not labor, I'm a big man now. Huh? Ishmael, enjoy your day, man. Happy birthday to you, boy. And this one actually shook Monrovia, eh? I remember those days I went in Aricos, man. 3 young ladies that sang this music. Yeah, Ivorian though. That's my second home, don't ask me. My mother here from that end, eh? The late. Ah, yeah. Ah, Let's enjoy ourselves. We join hands to dance alongside Ishmael Smith. We'll be celebrating your birthday tomorrow. So he say, no more little boy. I'm not little boy any longer. Okay, let me not follow this music because in Africa we used to dance until our shoes and all bust. So I see my guest is smiling. I know he got something to say about this music. It's my pleasure this afternoon to have this honorable man seated right before me. Good afternoon, sir.
Joe, thank you very much, and let me commend the team for the very hard work for this investment you have made.
I'm not getting. Let me hear you again. You're not going through.
What I'm saying. Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank the ABC family for the setup.
Okay.
It's a huge investment, and I'm very proud that Liberians are taking ownership of their own destiny as well.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, who is this David Down sitting before me here in this afternoon?
Well, not much is known. David is the French would say 100%. 100%. Hail from Nima.
What did I say? I said the music that playing here he was listening to. Is he speaking French to me now?
Yeah, and grew up in Firestone.
Okay.
And then I was privileged to attend the Firestone School and at 08 to Firestone because at that time we have to go through junior high school. Then from there, we went to Swedru Multilateral High School where I served. I stayed there up to 1985, and I was student leader in the Great Multilateral High School. Right from there, 85, came down to Monserrado, attended the University of Liberia, where I did mass comm and political science. Right from there, and then work around here. We were privileged by the special grace of God. We received a kind of a partnership, sponsorship. I went to Asia, China. Did a study in military science and got a master's with emphasis in strategic studies. And then I came back and continued my study at the Abraham Bamangila School where I got a master's of arts international relations. But there are other things we have done, like I went to Kofi Annan in Ghana, a special operation course. I went to Sweden at Uppsala University where we did human rights, peace and security. And other small other things, Joe. We can't take up time.
You got a heavy load, though.
Well, it's not that heavy. I think we owe it to Liberia, and that's why we are making our contribution right now as the chair of the mass comm department at the United Methodist University.
Okay.
And we are grateful for that.
Great. I mean, you took over from Bobby Livingston, huh?
Yeah, he was there sometimes.
Right.
Then,
okay.
I went in.
Okay. Well, that's my guest there. So the next 45 minutes, the voices you'll be hearing will be that of him and myself. So let's kickstart our discussion. We thought to invite on this platform to be able to dissect some issues relevant to what is unfolding in our country today. To begin with, this electoral process. I understood you're one of those who are preferring the ideology of it should be peaceful. From where you stand to talk that?
I think, Joe, there is no way that we can have a peaceful country if we don't have a peaceful election. And we know where election took us in this country. I'm talking about 1985.
Yeah.
But peaceful election starts with peaceful process, following the rules of the game. We must insist that the rules are followed. And those who have the empire must be able to put their feet down. I'm talking about the electoral house and make sure that every side played by the rule of the game. In that way, if we start on that peaceful note, trust me, Joe, we'll end on a peaceful note. We will not, sometimes back, historically, we have that doctrine or the notion by the late president, Houphouët Boigny. He used to say, we don't organize election to lose. And because of that, He won election over and over and over and again. And he has his like the Totman who won the election over and over for 27 years. He ruled, in fact, before himself for 33 years because he could not organize the election to lose. He had a contemporary like Gasegbe Yadiman of Togo who ruled from 67 until 2005, 38 years that we're talking about. We have Sekou Touré for 26 years from 1958 to 1984. Siaka P. Stephen, the old man, 18 years from 1967 to 85 because they have harbored that notion that we don't organize election to lose.
Wow.
So in that case, practically democracy was buried.
So you think that ideology of our forefather is still exists today in our temporary democracy?
World, we must commend Africa because even with the contemporaries of the old man Lavie, Boigny, Africa has changed over time. There are incumbent presidents in Africa that accepted results. For example, proudly we can commend Ghana, John Mahama, in 2017. Imagine a seated president. He peacefully turned over to Nana Akufo Dankwa Addo.
Right.
We can also talk about Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan in Nigeria. In 2015, he lost to Buhari at the time. So Africa has been doing well. Senegal, Abdoulaye Wade, a seated president from 2000 to 2012. He lost to Macky Sall and he conceded. Of course, Gambia, Yaya Jammeh, who said he was going to rule Gambia for billion year if Allah will. He didn't. It was Adama Barrow that defeated him. But the story is that in the end, he commended Barrow, but of course, at some point, he wanted to renege. But at least Gambia went through peaceful election. But the Gambia experience, what I want to say very, very loud and clear is that the electoral chair at the time must be commended. Alio Muhammad Njai, he said, let this world go forth to Africa and head of electoral houses in Africa. That the role of the electoral house is not to manufacture result, but to interpret result.
Not to manufacture result.
Yes.
But to rather interpret
result.
Just what the various polling center says.
Exactly.
Should be what it should be interpreted by you.
That's peaceful election.
Not addition, not subtraction.
No, it's not your role. So Professor Njai was very clear. In Gambia, he told Yaya, I'm sorry, we are only interpreting results. We are not manufacturing. You know, so Africa, we can commend Africa. There are some peaceful steps we have taken, and it's still doable. We can do it. Liberians, we went back to back with Her Excellency, and then we saw a peaceful transition to the current government, which many people are very proud. Other countries are very proud. They even want, how did we get through, given our war history, given the kind of hostility that we went through. But again, we proved to the world that we can make a change. And we made it, Joe. So we can continue on that path of democracy.
Well, that sound too. If you ask me, what you make of what he just said, I will just tell you, say, he's no other than a teacher sitting in the classroom who had done enough of groundwork with respect to research and this information. Trust me, our high school is supposed to be told about this kind of thing before even reaching to university level.
Yeah, it's very important because we can only build on these things when we are guided.
That's right.
The American philosopher, George Santayana, he said, if we forget our history, we are headed for trouble.
Obviously.
Because you got to know where you're from.
That's right.
Then you will know where you are going.
Right. Then you'll not just accept anything overnight.
No.
Somebody come with something to tell and say, no, hold on. My forefathers
exactly
like this. Why are you coming with this one?
So that's history. It reminds people where you were, where are you now, and where you are headed. If you fail to look back, you are doomed. If you
fail to look back, I mean, you are doomed. So let's transition again to another concern that I have. With respect to the drugs issue, bodies have been found around the country, no mark on them, like to say foul play, toes cutter, nose cutter, ear cutter, whatever, stone cutter, kidney removed, heart removed. but it all been attributed to this new drugs they call Kuch. Yeah, David, this is alarming. It's scary. We are all fathers. We are mothers. Got our children at leave almost like 7-8 hours in schools and other places.
Joe, is an issue of concern. I wrote an article in the Inquirer and said in recent times that drugs has become, especially illicit drugs, has become an invisible hand that is pounding on all of us. And that was from the background. It was July 2. I was driving along the SKD, route, and somebody just checked my phone. And the lady said, "Oh, he's just going to say I want to smoke." Well, the phone, I wouldn't downplay it to say, well, it's not important, because people say, "Oh, but what is attached to you? Why would you downplay it?" But I was more worried about the country. That the young people, they live on drugs and it's threatening all of us. In the concept, within the context of security, Joe, when one person in the group is not safe, the whole group is not safe.
Obviously.
So if we have these people, they are not safe, the youth, we are not safe. Because they go in the community to terrorize people. So we have all become soft targets. You walk in the street, anybody can jump on you. Anybody can jump on you because they are not normal. But again, we have to check. In that article, I was asking the question, what kind of drugs are these guys taking? There must be issue of concern. Substance identification. What are they taking? We must be able to ask, who are the role models? Who are they looking at and they continue to do this kind of thing? Who are the exemplary character? If Joe is a broadcaster, I think there are young people who should say, I want to be like a Joe Wonder. I want to pick after him. Where is this thing coming from with the drugs issue? Who is the role model? Where are the drugs coming from? The source must be identified. Because the only way we can call it off, then we'll be able to detach them. Who are the suppliers? The supply king or the supply king? Where are these things coming from? Of course, how is it getting down to the end user, the rouse evidence? We must keep eye. Where is it coming from? How is it getting down to these people? How? How? What can be done? Collective response. All of us, we need to be concerned. Then the new one they call Kush is very worrisome. And trust me, I was just reading before I came here, it sold for $100 Liberian.
Wow.
So it reminds me like what we used to have here is a drip that was sold for $5, $10. Because it is affordable, the kids used to carry to school. It's a very serious problem. And I was just coming, I also read that from the southeast in Maryland, I think they were able to, the DEA, thank God for them, they were able to confiscate about 476 kilograms of marijuana. It was on April 10. That value about 36,000 United States dollars. This is a serious threat to this country. Because if we young people are not safe, we are not safe. Who will take after us?
David, you asked a question with respect to is it coming from? Who are those that are behind it?
Yeah.
Now, from indication, listening to some of the news of the drugs up there, they always call certain nationality name. Let us crack down on them. Let us call a spade a spade. I remember those days when I was in the Ivory Coast, as refugee. You know how Liberian were treated by the security.
Of course, yes.
When they say these guys are Liberian, there was serious security, movement on that community or on Liberian. Now we're hearing that Sierra Leone bringing in the Kush drugs. We hear that Nigerians are involved. What is it our security apparatus waiting for? They can't move on those guys. Let's get to know exactly who are those behind these things.
Well, Joe, we gotta be careful so we can't sound xenophobic.
No, we're not sounding xenophobic. This is the only country we have.
Yeah, but we give the DEA a chance, and that's why we are challenging them. These security guys, I'm sure they can do a good job.
They're not equipped. They are not equipped as I speak.
Well, I mean, you can do surveillance.
They are not mobile.
Joe, but
they are nothing.
Some of this area, it does not come from mobility. So if you know that there's black bar here where people are selling, do you need car to go there? I think it's the issue of determination. And to be very, very serious. For example, I was in Africa just like you. Fortunately, my brother-in-law was member of the parliament there. He told me, he said, David, I advise you, if you get Liberia coming with a king juice to sell, where people say no liquor, but what about the wine in it? What about the gin?
That's right.
We can talk about that. He said, a young man, if a young lady wants you here, talk about a social issue, we can get involved. He said, but stealing case, drug case,
That's right.
our country don't take it light.
That's right.
So we can do the same thing here. Joe, we just need to stamp our feet. It's the serious matter. It's just the matter of people taking the responsibility serious. Those that are in charge of these things. People here say, oh, but they're selling something rare across here. You think, they hear it? And unfortunately, I'm not sure whether this is truth. But sometimes we hear people saying, sometimes even people in uniform, they're also seen in some area where they are not to be
That's right.
carrying our flag at the time. So it means that either we are paying a deaf ear or blind eyes to this thing. So if we have our borders tightened, I remember when I was in the military, we dismissed people for being in possession of illegal substance or drugs. We did it under Minister Samukai at the time. We took action. People say, oh, but they think that GRFU. We said not under this new arrangement. And we took some action. It's still doable. With sincerity, with seriousness, we can still save this nation. We have in hands our country cause defending.
But if we always say we don't want to sound xenophobic, but look at your young people are dying. Are you waiting until all of our children gone mad?
No, Joe.
Or they fall by the wayside and die?
No, Joe, the point is, if a Liberian is in Sierra Leone, he commits crime, he can be treated. If he's in Nigeria, but if we just, maybe we try to be careful, not to say, oh, the Sierra Leone,
No, what we do, I'm not, I am not saying in particular.
Those that come in conflict with the law must be dealt with.
Precisely is my point. And those who harboring them, who harboring them.
Well, the guy accomplices.
Thank you.
If you live with
the two groups,
they can be dealt with.
They can be dealt. That's my point.
That, I interpose no objection to that. Perfect. I'm sure the law is there. If you have people that are attached to illegal substances under our law, you treat them in violation of the law. There's no blinking on that. There's no blinking. We don't have to flip-flop on it. The laws are very clear. We have to save our country. We have to do that.
Your alma mater, the army, I will say, the current chief of staff has called for drug tests for elected officials. What do you make of that?
I listened to the chief of staff, General Johnson, very, very clearly that very morning on OKFM. I think that's the way to go. When we were being recruited for the security sector reform, where the American people pay their money, General Johnson, the chief of staff, they were part of the first class. All of us were subjected to drug test. They spot anything in your urine that looked like Atai, you were out. He's a very disciplined man. He knows exactly from where he's speaking. Because there's no way, and the people at any time, they could call on us for drug check. So anyone...
Randomly.
Yes. Anyone that stays in the army up to this point are holding in high respect. Well, sometimes there can be some bad apples, but that was the regulation at the time, Joe. We went through it. We went through it. We were tested. That's 17 weeks. For those of us that were trained at the administrative level, those that went in a uniform, all of us were subjected to the same drug test. There was no sacred cow. And the Americans don't joke with that. So I expect that he was speaking from a very informed point of view.
Why you think the power that be is not listening to what the man talking? Because a few months ago he talked about stop giving the people red beret, wearing boots, and say they are meditant. Because we just came from a gruesome civil war that got also victim rather than victor.
The chief of staff is in charge of the military, right? But above the boss there is a boss. So I believe he can make this kind of projection. You have the defense minister, you have the commander-in-chief, who is the overall and all of that. So within the military, there's a whole chain. So he's just in the vertical chain of command. So he can suggest to the bosses. It is something that I'm sure, as an institution, is under consideration. As an institution, it is something that is not new. We know that the issue of drugs, I can speak to that with exactitude. We were there, we know. And we went through the scrutiny. So he knows the danger. So imagine, Joe, if you have somebody who is under the influence and you get him armed, You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they were very clear with
Because
that.
the old people say, what a man bring a kinju over, that what he go to,
Exactly.
to
He
commit crime.
said, I'm going to commit crime on this.
Yeah.
I will tell you the hard truth.
Yeah.
He got caught in 50 shot.
That's
He's
right.
coming to do it. He's being influenced by something.
Right.
So it's a matter of concern. That official, I think he said it in good faith. So if, you know, leader, I'm not talking in the case, I'm talking about leader, I'm talking about all of us as leader. Whether you're father of the home, let's subject ourselves.
To the drug text.
Yes. So that my daughter will know that daddy are clear. He's not pounding on me because
Right.
where he came from, how he walking taki.
Mm-hmm.
So that my wife will know that I'm not acting because I'm influenced. So all of us as official will be setting the tune. You think if a minister is clear that the minister was tested and they say, oh, this guy, he's clear. You think there will be somebody under his watch that will come and tamper with substance? You dare not do it.
The only thing is now time to tell our lawmaker in the face
Well,
that it's time to add this into law.
I think it's very important to save the state. It's
Yeah.
not about an individual.
Right.
The bigger picture is Liberia.
Okay.
It's not about any individual. Tottenham was president for 27 years, right? From 18 for and Liberia stay here.
Right.
Good. So we are talking about the safety of this country. You and myself will be gone, whether we like it or not.
Oh, we have to.
But our children will continue to inherit. So the foundation we will lay. So imagine you are a teacher, you go into class, and students smelling, they say cologne, king juice on you. What message you sending out?
That kinju is good.
There you go. If the student found a teacher in a gutter, drunk, what message are you sending? How does that affect the integrity of the institution that you're associated with? How does that affect the integrity of your family, your friends? So it's a very serious issue. We don't want to be a country where they say the first, imagine 100 million. Thanks to the DEA in partnership with other security entity, that was boosted. Follow again, as if that was not enough, there was another attempt. Why are we always coming on the screen? Let the people find different places to carry their drugs.
And by the way, why are we as a nation we keep? I mean, we keep being targeted by the drugs law.
Well, you know, Joe, we got to put our feet
It
down.
says that somebody is getting something somewhere around here, and don't want to know exactly the intricacies.
So the question is, who benefits? That's the real quagmire. Who benefits? Because we have to put our feet down. We have to put our feet down as a country to save this country. If we make bylaws, these laws will affect us tomorrow if we are not in that position, if we are not in that privileged position. So like somebody said, we can't be honorable out there and be vulnerable out there. So if we're honorable in our position, we must be protected under the law. So tomorrow, I'm not assistant minister, right? I walk in the street freely. I don't have to rack up. It's not a rack again. Because if I can't afford gas. But nobody running after me to say, hey, you know, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
because,
he was there yesterday.
Yeah, because he did it. So if the country is safe, it's safe for all of us. You will serve, and you will know that you serve with sincerity, and you will leave. Other people will come and play their part. But the country and the country first. That should be our priority.
So it should be mandatory, not only priority, but mandatory.
Yes,
mandatory priority.
Yes. If we have a strong law, it will discourage people. If we have our security people, that they will have to stamp their feet, that, hey, you have the authority to make sure you carry on your duty. Your fiduciary responsibility, scrupulously, I want to believe that we can fight this thing.
I said, what done to you people?
Oh yeah, we went through the test, Joe.
Yeah, we just jumped we come to ABC Radio with our team. I remember we came to a minister XYZ.
Good. So if the manager here says, for example, look, this is an entity. We got to start what we preach.
Yeah.
ABC Radio to stay here, you must subject yourself. It is management
Policy.
That before you enter ABC here, you must do drug tests. If you don't want it, well,
They walk away.
yes. As a policy, they will know that Joe's serious. But Joe will not be talking, oh, you know, they say people can do this and that, some people come on air. The reason they can be doing all that things because they are not straight. How do you prove that? You just be that perception.
Speculating.
Very good. So it must be a policy. And if all of us have to make sure that to save the institution, to the big institution called Liberia, all of us must take some giant steps.
others should take some giant steps. If you just joined the program, it's ABC Hard Talk, about 25 more minutes to 5 o'clock in the city of Monrovia. And of course, in studio with me is His Excellency, Mr. David Dunn. He's the former assistant minister.
Keep the excellency for the president.
I must give you your flower too, boy.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, you don't have to be seated to the executive mansion or cabinet building before I say your excellency. You are excellency in your own right because you're giving back to society. Okay, so he's my guest this afternoon. We're talking a lot of issues here, but before we go for our break, I just thought that we should talk on the one of the training issues where I made big news within the political arena of Liberia. That has to do with the dismissal of Minister Cooper Kruger from the MD, what you call it? Movement for Democracy and Reconstruction, and of course Minister of Post and Telecommunication. What you make of his dismissal? Because a few hours ago, one of the stars of the ruling party, Akaros Gray, put on his Facebook page that the man is a threat, he's a traitor, and he shall sell up, and he was going to have lunch with him. And it took no time. The chief executive took a decision to sack this man.
You know, Joe, the difficult thing, I work under the executive myself. It is the president prerogative to appoint and to dismiss. But in an inclusive government like what we have, coming from where we come from, sometimes we have to weigh the options, right? But it is not a strange thing. For example, in 1985, when the abortive coup was led by the late General Thomas Gonkaba Kuyongpa, the then information minister was Alexander Kappe.
Yeah.
Albert Kappe.
Albert Kappe, that's right.
I remember the interview when Robin Askin said, look, we understand there's retribution against the Gil and Manon people. The information minister at the time said, no, even what you talking about retribution against them, that the Gil people, the Manon people did this. The first person who put hand on me was my bodyguard. It was not Kuyongba. And immediately he was dismissed by Doe. The information minister lost his job. We are in Africa where the executive has the power. So, the executive power is used by the executive. In this case, he who appoints dismisses.
That we know by virtue of our constitution, all of those powers are engraved into his working. But we are seeing that a star of your party came out with such pronouncement on Sunday. Then Tuesday we hear with the dismissal of this man because we started hearing that his name was removed from the cabinet, chat room. Then from there,
so it means that you are concerned about the timing.
Thank you. This is my concern. The timing. Because Joe Warner came and sat on the radio and said, let's sack Mr. Dan. Let's sack Mr. Dan. Then when Mr. Dan worked with, in less than 72 hours, Mr. Dan, boss it, sack him. So is it that they listen to Joe Wonder? Or what is it? Because it's enshrined in the president of the university, the handbook that the president got the right to sack anybody because of X, Y, Z. When I said, that's why with you.
Yeah. But if Joe should say they should sack Mr. Dan,
that's right.
Automatically his dismissal pops up.
Thank you.
And of course you say, oh, I want it ties in. What a coincidence.
What a coincidence.
But in any case, I think we're in political times.
Right.
We're in political times. But whichever the case, I think let us not lose focus on the big picture we call Liberia. Liberia is our focus. All of us. This country that we took over from our forefathers, it will be our responsibility to build it in a way that remains peaceful. If we didn't take it in a chaotic form, Joe, if you didn't take over ABC radio and made it chaotic, don't leave it chaotic.
Okay.
That's the message I can say. We have to fight to keep this country together because it is, this is one common denominator.
Yeah, but one key word you use, is collectivism.
Yeah.
Collectivism works alongside with intolerance.
With tolerance.
With tolerance.
So
are we seeing that we're not too tolerant of our people who brought on board, who got the technical know-how to push the agenda of Liberia?
And this is how I respond to that. Mana Ellen said he was president, but he had opposition on board.
Right.
Because it's Liberia. It is Liberia. So all of us.
The bigger picture is Liberia.
That's the bigger picture. So what happens tomorrow if another person says, okay, so maybe as an individual, I support Joe, will we dropping off? But you have to understand, and Councillor Krua didn't come under any false pretense, right?
Mm-mm.
He was clearly identified as a representation of MDR.
That's right.
So that was the role he was playing.
And based on that, why you were appointed.
That's why he was appointed.
Mhm.
Clearly,
That's right.
very clearly. So I'm sure he didn't pretend.
Mm-mm.
So I think, but the bigger
Even to the extent that
Yeah.
he's now serving as the chairman of the party.
of the party. So we can build Liberia together. We can move Liberia together at the pace and the level that we want. We can make it better, but it takes collective effort, Joe. No one group can do it. No one political party can do it. No one individual is so wise.
Retrospecting during the time of Madam Salif, when you people were serving there, I watched a documentary that was produced by the BBC. When the AFL, the disbanded AFL, the older guy said that the government was owing them, and she was in meeting with dignitary at the foreign ministry offices.
Yeah.
So she told Mandina Wise, look to the window and see what is going on outside. The Mandina looked there, Madam Wise. She said, "Oh, I see a group of people there chanting." So she turned around to the dignitary and said, "Excuse me, people, can you guys please give me 2 hours from now? I must see what is going on down there.
I'm going to talk to my people."
I'm going to talk to my people. At that time, it was the Army providing security with the CIA. When she came down the steps, they tried to block her. She said, no, these are my people. Let me go to them. And she walked over to them.
And at that time, I know there were powerful men like Warren Nangwe.
Thank you.
I'm a man, retired Captain Jerry Colley.
Thank you.
Every time, you know.
They were all there. So she walked to them. She said, "Gentlemen, did I hear that you guys didn't want to bring water?" No, Omar, how can we bring water?
I will bring water.
Can bring water.
But he said that.
Omar got concerned that the reason why. She said, "Okay, then you let me to City Hall." She went back in-house. She called her, how you call them? She called
her
lieutenant, thank you. Your former boss,
Yeah.
the defense minister,
Yeah,
was part of that
Minister
meeting.
Yeah.
Setuma, the rest of the guys. She turned to your boy and said, "My man, this is your area. What do you think we can do?
What can we do?
What can we do?"
To handle this situation?
He said, "Madam, it's all about money. Christmas is coming. That's the reason why they are all on the street."
But like Christmas, like July 26th.
Thank you.
That is prime time there.
That's right.
But
So when this happened, what I'm seeing is that being tolerant now.
yeah.
Madam walked back. They went down to City Hall. She allowed them to talk. You know what Madam told them in return? She turned around to them and said, "Gentlemen, do you guys realize that the main victim of this war are those that are up interior?
Exactly.
You kill their cows, you kill their children, kill their husbands, kill their wives. How do we get to them when every time you guys will take to the street of Monrovia to demand, we keep giving you money? What's about the people who are victim about your activities?" She didn't say the army, your brutalized them.
No.
What she did was, she was tolerant of the fact that they are Liberian citizens. And two, they have people that the government promised. It doesn't matter how long, but the government promised that they were going to give them XYZ. So I'm talking from the perspective of being tolerant and, or better still, being tolerant with diverse view, because, like you rightly said, the country cannot be run by one group of people.
Well,
Because ideas is floating from every angle.
yes, all of us. So we have to ask ourselves, what is my contribution? I say the country for me.
Yes,
what
right.
am I doing? What positive step?
I'm on Liberia.
Yeah,
I
I'm
come
on-
back home to
Yeah.
give back to society.
To give back.
Yeah.
In different forms and factions. What am I doing to keep it peaceful? How can I contribute?
So you see now what is happening? Those they say and hearsay and what say we've been hearing in the corner. You see how it come to reality?
Yeah, we hope that.
Because we keep hearing people saying that they have promised to sack all my people, all Nima people that are within my party. Now look what is happening. Don't you think skeptic or political pundits sitting there say, but I think the thing here is true opinions we're talking. Because he failed to get the people support. Now they have decided to wish honor the people by way of sending them out of the governance system.
Well, I think the best we can say, Joe, is that all of us, we have to keep preaching the message of peace. That we see the bigger picture. That look, this is about win-win. It's not about win-lose. Nobody will lose. It's only Liberia that stands to lose. If we don't hold it together, what will we be telling our children? For example, I try. It took me almost 12 years. I built one small home. So, in case of crisis when it's Brenda, what do I tell my children?
That's
When
right.
they start to ask and say, oh, but, hey, Papa, your time again stay, you get tired from 1989, they say walking. We know about that one. Then the modern age again.
Yeah, you're still behind.
You think we expect Ghanaians to send troops here again?
Not at all.
We expect Nigerians to send
Nobody.
No.
If we are not tolerant of one another.
Yeah, I think it's about working together. I may not like Joe Wonder. I may not like a broadcast, but he got a piece of job to do.
That's it.
Give him chance to do
That's
what he
right.
has to do. If he's not correct, we correct him, correct his sense of history, and then we move forward.
And you know, David, I may say to us stupor. I said it during my study time, and I still repeat myself today in today's date. From the time President Weah was inaugurated at that SKD, he became the property of the Republic of Liberia. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing that CDC owing President Weah. He is the property of the Republic of Liberia.
Automatically, you are the chief executive,
Right.
father of the nation.
The nation.
Automatically.
So people should start carrying the illusion in their mind that it is that CDC. That's it. No, CDC is just the party that he's fortunate to be
You know?
a part of.
You know, Joe, one time I was in Asia, and one Asian friend made a kind of a sarcastic remark, and I had to correct him quick. So another guy introduced me and said, oh, this guy is from Liberia. You know what he said? He said a country where the woman are president there. I
Listen
told
to
him,
that.
don't say that to me. So what is the difference when a woman is a president or a man is a president? You know, we have to respect this country and make sure that this is the only one we have. So whoever wins, that person is the president. That's what we support.
Right.
Whoever is the president. That's why if the president is supposed to enter all of us who are against any ovation, we will stand. Whether your daughter becomes president, you give her that courtesy.
Right.
When you go inside, you talk, pa and daughter talk. But as long as she is the president, as long as he's the president, we got to give him that courtesy. That why we are supporting this government and we're supposed to support it.
Right.
In different ways. Whether you are teaching, whether you are selling, whether you are doing this, all to keep the country stable.
Right.
So all of us, this is our government. There is nothing like CDC government. It's just a time that you know that you have a party in charge. But it's Liberian government.
It's Liberian.
Then you leave from here, you go to Africa, where you say it's not my government.
No.
This is the
And by the way,
all of us will support it
Did-
to the end.
did they take CDC in the 14 county to vote for him?
No.
They were Liberian that
The
voted.
Liberians that voted.
Because the CDC, they can't call 14 counties.
No.
It was Liberian that said, okay, now is the time to bring in a new leadership.
And the day election result was announced, all of us, we submitted to the lordship or the presidency
Right.
of His Excellency.
Right.
That's democracy. Everybody can win. When you have the time, you have the opportunity to serve. And another thing, Joe, I always tell the opposition, I tell my students, I say, one of the problems too, so now we have in Africa, the opposition will threaten those in power too much. Oh, the other person in charge, they will take over, we'll do the one
Yeah,
they want, we'll seize the one, we'll do this.
Look
No,
on a way of saying things.
yeah, we can't do
The
that.
day will come to power.
Yeah, they will come too.
I mean, that's not about retribution. It's about the
Correct.
country.
So we can't continue to threaten people in power. We can't continue to demonstrate unbridled hatred for those in power.
That's right. We just
they may
waiting.
not be correct.
Yeah, we
but
just waiting.
we can't. I don't. The other people here, when the time finish, we'll deal with them. You can't do that.
Don't do that.
So are you also saying when your time finish, you deal with you? Because that's what you are saying explicitly. That if you are saying this is the way to go, the people who there now, wait, let's just count up. Hey, come on. We have to stop it. We must stop the ball. Whoever is in charge will get in change, let them complete the term, serve, and support the leadership. And then when another person comes, we support that leadership. I don't care what people do, Liberia will still be here.
Liberia will still be here no matter the situation that she found herself in. Okay, so let's try to see how we can engage the public now. Those of you who are following the discussion, Mr. David Dunn is my present guest, and he's my first guest on this segment of the discussion. And he's the chairman of the Mass Comm department at UMU. So now, if you be a part, you can call now on 0777-105-100, and 0555105 If you want to be part of it, call us and let us know exactly what you make of our discussion. We've been discussing on the peaceful election of Liberia, the concern on youth doing drugs, and of course the dismissal of Minister Cooper Kura. Just in less than 24 hours now. So these have been our discussion so far here in studio. So let's hear from you now before we take leave of our guests. 077-105-100 and 055-105-100. Let's go to the phone line and talk to the first caller. Hello, your name, where are you calling from? Hello? Hello? Oh, God. I have to go the manual way. Hello, your name, where are you calling from?
Yeah, I said my name is James Smith.
Oh.
From the Pano District number 12.
Okay.
And in your letter, with Martin Congress for Democratic Change.
They hear you, boss man.
Yes, the thing in the topic, I want to say that I was here at 7 Lacey. If they do not have an argument to say, they can win person job money we are. And we're working one round victory. There will be no second round.
Were you actually following our discussion? Excuse me, sir. Were you actually following our discussion?
Yeah. Yes.
No, but we didn't talk about electoral time, who will win, who will not win. Actually, we were not talking on that direction, man. Anyway, they say what is when you get to Charlie, don't raise any chorus. Probably he was listening to different station and call different number. 077-105-100 and 055-105-100. We're not talking about who will win one round, second round, whatever the case is. We're talking about peaceful election and concern of youth, into drugs and the dismissal of Minister Cooper Kura. 077-105-100 and 055-105-100. Call. Let's make it interactive. Let's go back to the phone line and talk to another caller here. Hello, your name, where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hello, sir. Yeah? Let's hear you. Yeah, let's hear you.
Well, the issue of the drugs, I was doing that drugs. They are not taking this very seriously. Sometimes when the drugs, the DEA go and do the rest of the drugs, you find that people who in the community, their children are important in the drugs.
Okay.
Sometimes when DEA made an arrest and carried it to the station, their parents, relatives will go there and come in the community and tell the people who will say, oh, this guy is doing drugs, and say, they start pinpointing people who point at the end that they were doing drugs. It's not a bad.
Okay. All right. Okay.
The next issue of Liberia and the presidency of the succession and the dismissal of Kokora. You see, sometimes you cannot be on the ego arm until the ego sting. Dr. Kran, he knows that now NDR is no longer with the city. NDR is kind of a different path with the city. So all he has to do, since he's the chairman for NDR, he has to make a decision how to go NDR way or with his way and be by himself. But he cannot, he's not going to go NDR way, so the president made up answer that anyone is not going my way, he cannot work with me.
Okay.
So dismissing by him going to the valley of the United Party this time, that's why he's doing it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That hold you there. That's because a lot of calls coming through. Let's see if we can take the other call. Hello. Nima, where are you calling from? Yeah, your name, where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, sir. Your name, where are you calling from? Yeah.
My name is Eddie Hammer, calling from Singapore.
Okay, Hamon, let's hear you.
I came in late, but when they recounted a horrible drugs issue, right?
Right.
Okay, that's what I want to talk on.
Okay, go ahead, Eddie.
No, I run the program, and one guy said to me, one of the guests said to me, if we're not careful, in 2 years' time, we'll not be in the street at 2 in the day, at 2 p.m. Because the issue of drugs, the guys are recruiting every day, and our brothers and sisters are dying every day, and there's no action being taken. They are in the schools, they are, everywhere. We get to be strong on it, and strong action will be taken. You need to pass that drug law and start punishing people to the letter. Or else, Joe, my son or your son or daughter will be the victim, and we all will pay. We all will feel the pain.
Obviously, Eddie.
Children, because they are in the schools now. their friends are giving it to them unknown to themselves. They may not take it that but they will do it unknown to themselves. And they'll think that their friend is doing good for them or trying to offer them. But gradually, the guys are recruiting. The new drugs that internet, they call it kush or what?
Kush, yeah.
That one is killing them instantly. Every day is a dead news or somebody taking that drugs. What are we doing? In the next 2 years to come, we're not going to see the street at 2 o'clock because we'll be running from the gas. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. That's for you there. Let's go to another side of the other line. Hello. Good evening. Yeah, your name and where you calling from? Yes. Oh, Mr. Harris, let's hear you, sir.
Thanks for your guest in studio. On the issue of open crop, I think if the president appointed to work at the will and pleasure of that president, he start to appoint you today and fire you the next day. That's it.
Hold my line.
On the issue of the drugs.
Yeah.
I listened to your guest talking about the DEA. I think we need to do more than the DEA because we need a very hard or stronger law that anyone that will be forced to put drugs into our country will go to jail for less prison. Anyone that will be caught smoking or selling will go for 10, 20 years imprisonment. Almost we need harsh punishment.
Okay.
And the only thing we can scare people from the issue of drugs in our country.
Right. We need harsh punishment. Okay, let me hold you there, David. Thank you for calling. Let me take the other call. Hello. Hello. Oh, I lost that call. Let me go back to this line and see what I can talk to another caller. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Neiman, where you calling from, sir?
Yeah, I'm Matthew Green. I'm calling from Johnsonville.
Okay, Mr. Clay, let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you for your program. On the issue of Cooper Crow or Castle Cooper Crow, constitutionally, each and every Liberian has the right and entitlement to have a job. So you want to tell me that because he supported you, so you gave him job, when he goes against you, you move him from the job. If that is the case, they have to go to each and every ministry in Liberia to dismiss those who are against them. It is wrong. You as a president, you are a father of the nation. Maybe by you allowing Cooper Cra to work, maybe the thought by Kano no, the president is a good president. Let us find a way to see him through. But because he has diverted his attention to somebody else, you are removing him. That is, he has to go to all the ministries in Liberia to remove each and everyone that is against CDC and government. Secondly, on the drugs issue, our children, they are getting out of hands. Hello?
Hello, I'm hearing you. Go ahead. You're live.
I was in West Point these few days, down the beach there, to see the children. 3 boys were lying on the floor, almost dead, from taking kush. So the government should do something in trying to save our children. You go to Cote d'Ivoire, you go to Guinea, you cannot see these things. But in Liberia, everywhere, Sunday afternoon, you come from church, you see these children with cutlasses, chapias, passing up and down the street. It will come a time we will not leave our houses to go outside. Because they will attack you in your house forcefully and knock you down and take your things from your hand. So those of us who are peace-loving people, we should try as best as we could. And also the opposition. The opposition should not wait for October to take up office before they will act. They have to act now to show that they are united, they have one voice, they have one common understanding to fight the ills of this country. They don't have to wait only for October to take up office before they will act.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you. All right, let's hold it at that. And sorry for that feedback. Let's take the last call, and of course, we let our guests give a parting comment. Sorry for that feedback. It's some technical glitches that I had here that what caused it. So 077-105-100 and 055-105-100. Last call. The last call, who's that lucky caller, will be called quickly, and then, of course, we call you a date, or else you hold your peace until the Lord fights your battle. Okay, so Mr. Dan, you heard your compatriot, and what is it you have to close up with?
Well, we want to say to our five cutters, thanks for the comments, the kind words, following through and adding your voice to the voices that we have been lifting here in studio. We commend all of them, and we feel that the issue of drugs, we want to close on that, is a very serious battle that all of us have to fight. What the American writer Judy Herman will call affliction of the powerless. The children, they don't know what they are doing. People who are responsible must be able to suffer it. Like the chorus said, we must have a harsher law that will deal with these people. Some of the kids are innocent. They don't even know, like you correctly said, that they are being drugged. They give you soft drink, anything right now can be tampered with. So it's a serious issue, affliction of the powerless. These guys are powerless, the young people, they don't even know. People are afflicting them to make money out of this drug. We hope that out of us, it can be a matter of concern. And we look up to a peaceful election that will keep us as Liberians united to work together and move this country forward.
That's the voice of Mr. David Dan. He's my guest, my first guest on the first portion of the program. So coming up next, after about 5 will be Dr. Charles Bolly. So Mr. Dan, again, it's my pleasure. As time goes by, we'll still get you here in studio because you, from what we've seen today, you are a man of wisdom. I think we need to drive this nation with what is embedded into you.
Thank you very much for the kind words, Joe. I want to thank the management for this special opportunity to invite me here. I think this is a very big venture, and that you are educating people. That's your way of contributing to the peaceful Liberia we're talking about.
Again, I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's the voice of Mr. David Dan. So let's take a musical brief. And when we come back, we will be ushering in our next guest, who happen to be Dr. Charles Bolly. Dr. Charles Bolly is my next guest, and he will soon be here. It looked like this, my producer loved this music. No, I have to change it now. I have to change the music. He want me to play this one here, but let me play something different for him this time. He having a birthday tomorrow, so tomorrow is his birthday. So yeah, so he want to enjoy himself. Yeah.
Montserrado,
Pome,
Cape Mount,
Bapalu,
Mangibi,
Boom,
and everywhere you go. This is ABC Radio 105.1 FM.
I be my way. me so close to you, can you be my sugar honey? And I can call you mommy. Baby, anytime I see your face, and I'll be your sugar honey. Yeah, you can call me daddy. Baby, anytime you see my face, girl.
I just don't know why you really wanna know my name.
Yeah, you look so fine tonight. Tell me what I gotta do, girl.
Written be the difference and why you wanna know my name.
And I really wanna make this right. Let's go somewhere, you and I. Girl, I really wanna know your name.
Boy, I don't really wanna play your game.
Make you boom that thing, girl. Tell me what to be your name, girl. I really wanna know your name.
Boy, I don't really wanna play your game.
Make you leave that thing, girl. Tell me what to be your name, girl. Oh yeah, come on. Oh yeah, come on. Tell me what's on your mind. Cause me, I not gonna like anything you want to make me feel so bad inside. Like seeing on it. Mama say I don't wanna waste no time. Yeah, ooh. Wait to be your name, I'll be the shame, girl. Make you tell me what I gotta do. Can you be my sugar honey? And I can call you mommy. Maybe anytime I see your face, I'll be your sugar honey. Girl, you can call me daddy. Maybe anytime you see my face, girl.
Live from the King's Building in Monrovia, Broad and Buchanan Street, this is
ABC 104.1.
The station with the best music.
105.1 FM.
Big tins, big rims, 22s, big rims. Confirmation steady, introducing Benzie. Seeing is believing, with bubbling, we spending.
I spend the only currency with the sun name. Pound sterling. You know I got game. I travel first class for the weather to change. I'm on this track with Olu maintain. I can't see you, but you can't see me. If you wanna see me, you gotta come to JD. We could rendezvous at the bar around two. To make it easy, choose the one around you. Tots, bar, beef, capiche, salt bar, saints and browns, camouflage on and on. I could go on and on. I could kiss you on.
Okay, my guest is already seated. Dr. Charles Body is already seated. We're going like 6, 7, 8 minutes into our time, but now we're standing. We owe it to you, the public. So Doc is here, and again, it's my pleasure to have Dr. Charles Body seated here in the Scusi studio.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Wanda, for the invitation. We are honored to be here. It's a great pleasure to be serving our country through a platform like this, and we would like to commend you for that, and in particular to the management and staff of ABC Radio for first your new elevation, new location. You have moved higher, and we are quite delighted to come and experience the goodness of your new studio. We were part of the family when you were up Crown Hill on Broad Street, and we have the champion show there, and I'm very happy. I'm really excited to be here. So we want to greet all our listeners, and we want to thank them for joining us for the conversation we are about to have.
Thank you. Okay, Doug is the executive director of Free Liberia, and it's a foundation for research, education, and empowerment. And he's the author and motivational speaker. And of course, we got him live on Oh, his mic is off. Wow, what am I getting? I just went to. Doc, let me hear you again because let me hear you.
All right.
Go.
Thank you. Again, we are happy to be here. It's a pleasure to be part of this great platform. And I was talking about how grateful I am for
Right.
the work of the management and staff. of
Okay,
the
I think
station.
it much better now. Yeah.
Moving
Mhm.
from one end to another end.
Right.
To me, that's progress. I believe in progress. I believe in change.
Right.
I believe in transformation, institutionally and nationally. You know, because life as a whole,
Mhm.
generally, we have to keep moving and moving forward.
Right.
So thanks to the management of ABC Radio for
Okay.
the progress, and thanks to you for the invitation.
Thank you to Doc for honoring this invitation with despite your busy schedule. Okay, precisely. It had been a while. How have you been keeping?
Well, I'm doing quite well, and you know, when you have an opportunity to build yourself and continuously build yourself, and you also have great passion and belief in your country, it is always a pleasure to keep pushing and doing as much as you can do. Before I talk about how I've been doing and what
Mhm.
I've been doing in particular, I want to thank the Liberian people for their contributions around different levels. Whence we've come, how far we've come as a nation, how we have been able to hold together in spite of differences and challenges we encounter through different means. We are really glad that through our concerted efforts, we can be able to preserve our peace and hold together up to this point. This year is indeed a critical year that we need to even hold together more, unite more, consolidate the peace more, that in spite of our differences, our beliefs, we do have a common denominator, and that is our nation.
That is our
You
nation.
know, so
Mhm.
putting everything aside and looking at the bigger picture that we have to protect, we have to hold up to, in you know, far from just the interests or the beliefs or things we want to see in our lives. We want to see holistically our country transform generally, and this is where we have been trying to contribute. We've been trying to contribute, in particular, to my transformation through the education sector. And we have been singing and ringing the bells that education is everybody's business and that life gets better. We become more proactive, we become more participative, we become more even democratic and more considerate, tolerant, and different things based on the level of transformation education that we have. And that is where a society that does not have a high literacy rate will face different circumstances and challenges, and sometimes it can be very difficult for even the messages and things we want to preach or want to see in the society happen. So we have been trying to make such contributions around education from the Central Ministry of Education in different levels, you know, helping through different programs, teacher transformation, encouraging learners, system building, and so much more. And apart from that, participating in the transformation of the minds through especially graduate schools. And we meet a lot of young people there who are energetic, strong, and who are equally passionate to see this country move forward from one level to another level. And also through our different programs, we know doing best. For example, writing. I like writing and making some contribution around that. So it's actually being quite an engaging and busy time trying to make sure we play our own role wherever you find yourself, wherever you are right now. You have a certain role to play, and if you are not playing that role, there is a vacuum. There is something that should be filled, and if you don't act where you are in a positive manner towards the building of your country, then there will be something that will be lacking in that regard. And I personally, I believe that we need to do more for our nation, and it cannot be overemphasized.
We need to do more for our nation. But as an educator, what is your take on the current state of affairs of the Liberian educational system?
Well, when you place the discussion of the education system, it looks like everyone has something to say. And we like that. I mean, it should be something that people should discuss, talk about its challenges, talk about how it can be transformed, perceptions, and different issues. Because, I just came from a Police Academy Public School, and I was talking to young minds and young brains who we look forward to in the next years or so contributing towards the transformation of our country. And based on what happened in that community, in that school, for example, it affects. Now you may not see it physically, but of course, in some way, you can see it through different arrangements.
Right.
And sometimes you even find it happening when there is an incident in the area. You can be able to really come through to say, to what extent is this community transformed, or to what extent the citizenry is transformed. And generally there are really a lot of issues and different issues we're trying to correct. Generally, I worked with the Ministry of Education directly for 5 years in 3 positions, and we have been trying to categorize challenges into access, for example, and how far do you walk to a nearby school. I was just this week in Carisburg and trying to look at a certain program that has been done by one of the stakeholders, and looking at, for example, a child at 3, maybe at 6, that's supposed to walk from one place to another place, talking about access. It's an issue. And basically coming around is quality, wherein, when you go down Broad Street here, you want to buy commodity, maybe a phone, you want to buy something, you always want to look for the best quality you can get.
Right.
And that quality will satisfy you, will be able to provide that. And we see that quality generally, in part, is a challenge because we can view that through what we see. We can view that through the way our learners are doing, what they are becoming, how they are competing, and to what extent they are doing. And we can also view it from the angle of who is leading or who is managing education, to what extent they have oversight, to what extent they have the knowledge, the know-how, the competence, the qualification, and the skills required to be able to handle that. So when we're trying to place all these into perspective, we can say that generally our education system needs more attention. All of us need to be more serious and more deliberate in handling our situations that really continue to confront us, in particular trying to train our teachers, trying to make sure we cut down the overage people going to school relatively late, cutting down on our performance in a way, and other issues of maybe talking about girls' education, for instance. So we actually, as educators, need to be more intentional and deliberate in dealing with some of these matters that will be able to create a shift, from one end to another. And it's difficult to cut the case to say, A equal B, but generally we need to pay more attention to transforming our education
We need
system.
to pay more attention to educational system.
We need to pay
I
more
mean,
attention.
from kindergarten up to university level.
Yeah, we need to, especially the foundation.
Okay.
Especially the foundation, we need to pay more attention to, for example, we see that, in fact, we have free and compulsory education, which we have been trying to implement the free part partly, and people still have their children home, not going to school up to higher, maybe 10 years, or 12 years, in fact, out of school sometime for a lifetime. We need to see how can we begin to more deliberately deal with the issues, because they end up coming back to us differently. There is a theory in education, in fact, in economics also called human capital theory, and it talks about the investment we make on education. It should be more, for example, more than investment in other areas, because what we do in education affects health. What we do in education affects how we build our roads. What we do in education affects how even the ministries have been led, in fact, how the station operates. Because eventually we will be having products from high school who will go to a journalism school and get a certificate and eventually learn up here. So all this is together. Everything is together and that we need to find some ways to be
That
able to
you,
deal with
you,
some
you lay
challenges.
emphasis on precisely the foundation. Do you also share in the view of pundits who says that education is the foundation? It's the university level, what you get in the master and what have you, is just something like a review section just to get out?
Well, partly I agree. You know, I know for sure when you have a building, you may not just live in the house.
Right.
If the foundation
It's
is
not
left like
good.
that.
Right.
We agree, but that's where to start from and be able to provide a solid beginning. Solid beginning, because that will allow you to navigate through other challenges you face. For example, if you have some mastery, literacy and numeracy, you know, you're able to read, you're able to write, you're able to do basic calculation. You know, you just need some level of motivation now and begin to read and follow tips and follow different ideas. And now eventually you'll be able to do more and then end up in a particular profession that you'll be able to do more, of course. So in our investment, I teach at a graduate level. It's important to invest in university, but our investment mostly starts from the foundation, making sure that early childhood education get the needed support it's supposed to have, and making sure children begin to play and build their skills they need to build in order for them to have a solid foundation they need for the transformation. And all these end up coming back to us, like I said earlier on, through different things. If people that we're supposed to educate and we don't educate them the proper way we're supposed to, these are people, in spite of private properties and buildings we try to put together, they are a serious risk, you know, and you know, and you don't spare out when you know, in things we don't pray for, but when we don't holistically try to be able to make people find their identity, find themselves, and get some level of education, these people are very gullible and it can be manipulated in different ways that will hurt all of us as a nation, and we can't afford that.
Somebody been wondering what are some of the major challenges in the sector remain despite the huge investment in our educational system?
Well, again, one major challenge is with the teachers.
Okay.
With the teachers, we need to continue to train our teachers and give them the tools they need to be able to teach the best way possible they can teach. And now, one of the problems I was trying to solve in the ministry was not just providing training for teachers, but following the law we have in the Education Reform Act of 2011. The education stakeholders through the legislature assessed education, and they saw some things to be very essential, very necessary for the holistic transformation of the sector. And one of them was not just to certificate or allow people walk in or walk out in the teaching profession as it is right now, and I'll explain why is it like that. We have almost everyone is a teacher by default in Liberia, which is very sad.
So I mean, the passion is not there at all.
No, not just the passion. You know, everything we do is a profession.
Okay.
Today you are in this studio and you are asking appropriate questions and digesting and handling the issues and analyzing and be able to make contribution because you have been trained as a journalist. You know the ethics, you know the ABC of journalism, and you are able to be professional as much as you can to deliver on that. If I am not trained and I get behind the microphone, you will see the difference. You will see how I'll be doing things. And in fact, now, you know, and journalism is one of the professions. I have been in the media for several years, and that was even, in fact, the first profession I walked through. And I'm still partly a journalist, though I'm not practicing journalism. So we need training, and we need to have people who are trained handling areas that they are working in. If you want to be a business person, have some skills and training in business that will be able to keep you there.
So
if you want to have training and different things in different areas, have some training.
Getting you correct. I don't want to lose the thought before you can end on that question. So the concern here now is that it should be teachers. If you go into that area, get a basic training, And then make sure you're not just going there because you feel that you are look all everywhere you found nothing to do. The simplest thing you can get or the easiest thing you can get is the teaching profession to go and sit there.
That is the issue. And that is why I try to relate it to different professions. And we see directly the difference. If somebody who is not trained as a journalist will sit right here, you will note as a listener, as a critical or constructive listener, you'll be able to establish that. Now, what is happening to a teaching profession? I'm not saying we have trained many people. We have teacher training institutes. We have University of Liberia and other universities training teachers. But we still have a profession which I told the education, joint education sector review in March, that it's like a walk-in, walk-out profession. If I am a church leader, for example, and I have a school, and one of my work members is dismissed from working in the bank and is heading home and calls me that I don't have job anymore, and you look around and say, do we have economic teacher? Do we have XYZ English teacher? And that person will end up landing in the church school as a teacher the next day. That is very sad. A teaching profession is the creator of all professions. It's a model of all professions.
Right.
Those who are training, who are teaching our kids must have the training they need to be able to do this. And that's what it is. So this could not be a fallback position in different ways where we keep having people coming in here and there and leaving their learners even when they need them the most and things like that, and not building a force that will motivate and keep them moving to the level they can. Now, the effort was, and the education laws of 2011 call for this. The education law provides for teachers to be licensed, like the way the nurses are licensed, the way they even the accountants get their own CPA or something like that. The way lawyers have their bar tests and other things, some form of dignity is added. The law provided for us to have teacher licensing in Liberia. Up to this point, we have not been able to introduce that in a way to create windows for our house, in a way to put a door for this house, in a way to put a fence for this house we have. And as a result, when you are sleeping at night, anybody can walk in. And when anybody is walking in this thing, just know that not everybody walking in is going to have good intention or will do the right thing that they're supposed to do for this thing. And that is why we continue the advocacy that there is a need for us to begin teacher licensing and school standardization. It's a major problem among all the problems I know. If we cannot address this, and I've been speaking about it many times, if we don't address this, we are window dressing. We are trying to in a way, when you go to the hospital and the doctor will not treat you because you are red. The doctor will not address your situation because, you look very weak. Maybe he's just trying to make you strong so he can go to the lab and find out what's wrong with you, and then now he'll be able to make his prescription. That's how we need to deal with issues in education as much as we can, through evidence, through things, through system that will make it to work for us. And that's our approach. That's our approach. One area we need to deal with, professionalize our teachers, and we can now begin to motivate them to stay in the profession and do the work of transformation this country needs in different areas of the country. And if we cannot do it and just leave it to chance, then we will try to validate what Albert Einstein said, and we continue to say it's like insanity that we do things in the same way all the time, expecting that there will be an accident somewhere that happened to create a change. That is definitely very impossible. And I think if we can professionalize the teaching force and begin to motivate our teachers, they'll be able to do marvelous things. Then now we can begin to, of course we have a challenge with furnishing schools and all that. The reason why we need to pay attention to the teachers is that teachers can become creative. Teachers can become to be able to deal with learners, even if the weather is very good. I mean, people can even walk out. People can even be interacting. Teachers will be more creative. Even the learning materials we talk about, they will be able to work with learners through different ways. Then we'll begin to address other issues we have around the line. But if we put if you have this as a classroom and you bring in an incompetent teacher here, what do you get from the learners? You get equally share incompetence in that particular place. So I think that's a big problem in as much as we talk about addressing the issue of foundation, improving leadership and other things. We need to pay full attention on our teachers, but not just allowing it to be open as much as it can be, but to have teachers' lessons and be able to go through the ladder to provide the education.
Let us look back at your work at the ministry and give a clearer picture of what it was like.
Well, you know, when we joined the ministry in 2014. At the time I've returned home with a master's in educational psychology, trained as an educational psychologist. So we're educational psychologists in early childhood. And when I speak to you about early childhood, I don't just speak to you about early childhood as somebody from outside. I was trained as an educational psychologist, developmental educational psychologist. And in early childhood, one of the things we try to do is creating materials like ECE curriculum, different things that learners will need to be able to guide their process of learning. And then there was this concept that early childhood teachers, maybe anybody can be an early childhood teacher. That's also unfortunate because it's even more difficult. I find it less difficult to teach graduate students. Why? Because these are responsible people. Some of them are already in positions in different areas with some expertise, and they are coming for an exchange of ideas. But in early childhood, you need more innovation, more creativity, more play, different things. So one of the things that when I was in the BO in early childhood, we're trying to work around the curriculum, trying to get the parents, for example, involved, because we see them as children first teachers. They first begin to, in a way, even if they are not educated. Education is formal and informal. So even somebody who is not in school yet is getting some form of education, just that it's not formal, which means it's not as organized with specific curriculum or different people coming to teach on a daily basis and they give you a pass to another level. But they are getting some level of education. How can we get them involved and make sure that they can be able to have more stuff? And then how can we get more play-based materials and resources to be able to help that? Back in 2015, we provided support to basic education. We're director for basic education, which was responsible for grades 1 through 9. And in basic education is also trying to solidify the foundation that learners should have. So that was just many years back. Now, when I came back in 2019 with PhD in education, I was asked by the Ministry of Education team to support the ministry around different areas, but particularly with teacher professionalization, trying to professionalize the teachers. And that work led us to the education law, the education system, in the wisdom of those who made the law. We have law on education. Not many people talk about it or have read it. I encourage you and others following to read the education law. There are many important things there. And while I was following the show while driving here, there are many things we have on the box. Many good laws. I don't want to sound like somebody, but I would think we should pay more attention to try to fulfill some of the laws we have put on the books.
Okay.
I'm not saying we should not create new laws and try to, but what we have, it's like you have something and you are not fully utilizing that yet, and you are heading for the next chance. Sometimes you lose track of what you have already put there. And I'm not saying we should not create more laws, but can we check there to see which law is on the book and it seems to be sleeping giant? Which law is on the book that we have deliberately thought about, carefully designed to be able to help us, take us from one step to another step, yet still, we are still leaving it there, lying down, and we are not waking up yet. And those responsible for it to be up should also make sure it is up. So what we're saying is that the education law has important aspects, and one of the aspects provided is the creation of 3 centers of excellence in the ministry. So we are trying to make our education system excellent. We're trying to make it recognizable, competitive, and be able to just be a global citizen if you go through learning in that way. So one thing that was suggested is curriculum development and textbook research. That was a center. Initially in the ministry, it was headed by an assistant minister. It's been coming along. It's a center of excellence for curriculum development and textbook research. And then the law also provided for the center of excellence for teacher licensing and school accreditation. Teacher licensing and school accreditation. And the center of excellence for education management. We have only been able to wake up one center. It's like a plane moving and there are 3 engines running the plane and 2 are down. That plane is not properly functioning, and if the pilot is a good pilot, the pilot will say there is an emergency here and I need support. That's how it will be. So one is up, the Center of Excellence for Curriculum and Textbook Research is up, and the 2 centers are down. And so we're in the ministry trying to look at the law and the wisdom and researching, seeing how it's working in Ghana that we respect, in Nigeria that we respect. Of course, I don't want to talk about the West. These are things that are in place. Not everybody doing everything. In our country, we have some situation where, almost everybody seems to be doing everything. No. And that's why in the wisdom of the law, there should be lessons to be able to do certain work in education. And so if we have that law on the books, and then we stay alive. So what we did, working with the team, and thanks to the team for the opportunity provided us to be able to provide that support. We look at the law and we created a concept that fully creates the means to establish that center from the inception of its starving to its vision, to its mission, to its values, to how it should operate, to its pillars, and whatever it needed as a starting point. Not just that, how can we begin this process of trying to introduce teacher licensing and school accreditation in Liberia?
I'm going to quickly come with just 2 into 1 question. Because we understood that Free Liberia Foundation for Research, Education and Empowerment was established in response to some of the challenges. Please tell us more about it. Then a follow-up to that is, what are some key achievements of Free Liberia so far?
Okay, so the point I wanted to end is, let me just end it and then respond to that quickly, is that this center is key. It is very key. I was just talking about an aircraft that had 3 engines and 2 are down. You cannot run that aircraft with safety and confidence of those who are on board when everything that is needed to get it properly functioning not in place. And that is why we are calling that center, which we are even being able to develop a policy that's supposed to move with it, a policy in place that was launched and it's been talked about, it's been discussed. But we think that this is one of the ways we can address the problem we face in handling infiltration, unqualified here and there, removing this on the payroll and the other one here and there with the system. We need to be more holistic and practical in our issue. Now with the issue of Free Liberia, so I'm one person, I believe in continuously making a mark, because all of us, we don't know how long we're here. And I was telling young people where I just came from before this meeting that we don't have time. Sometimes we think we have time. If this current leadership, the government, looks at itself, it will think like it took power yesterday. 2018 was like yesterday.
So true.
I mean, almost 6 years are gone. 6 years are gone.
Right.
We are now about to sign up for another 6 years. And that's enough time for us to be able to do as much as we can do. And so the Free Liberia, we also identify that a major problem, apart from what we try to address with the teachers, with early childhood, with materials and other things we need, one of the things that have not been done here quite well in the education sector and is causing us so much is research.
The research aspect for education.
Research aspect of education.
Wow.
It is a big problem. I have traveled, fortunately, and thanks to God, to a number of countries. And I've studied abroad for 5 years. These days, for formal issues that affect national movement, progress, and all that, they are not operated based on perceptions or opinions. Now, if you have a clinic nearby that does not have a lab, that operates on a doctor's opinions or what they think, that clinic will shut down. And the death rate, if people continue to go there, if they will go there anyway, we have huge deaths. One of the things we've realized in our country is that we have not been researching much more to find empirical evidence to solve our problems, including education. If a learner is not doing well in class X, we have found out from wire results 30%, 50%, XYZ percentage, passing, failure. Why? They failing in math. People say they're not learning math business. Which human being will not learn math? Which human being will not like a particular subject when other people like it before? Then we need to find out what is happening. Is it that our teachers are not prepared, or they are not giving the message of this subject, or they are painting it another way? Or our learners are getting certain feedback from certain areas that this time it's not worth going in, or we just make them condition that mathematics is so difficult. So we need to make interventions based on evidence. So Free Liberia, our first priority is research, providing research solutions. So we decided deliberately to establish Free Liberia as one core area of addressing the problem, to conduct empirical research that will be able to inform interventions in different areas. The first study we did, it will surprise you to know why are learners not doing quite well. If you ask on Broad Street, carry the microphone around, everybody was there, they're not serious. Oh, yeah, it's Friday. Oh, that jolly. Everybody, that's what I say, I have something to say. But opinions now are not bought on the marketplace with a good price. Are proving evidence found out to be truth from those they concern. Those are things that people are now buying in the outside world. These are not strange ideas. So we need to find out. When we even try to find out why the learners are not performing quite well, one thing we saw was motivation. Okay. Motivation is a problem. An Irish student this day, based on our finding, will want a certificate and go and encourage mommy to hold a party and further carry mommy income level down. After the party, they're ready to speak, they disgrace mommy. That's very unfortunate.
The subject of can agree.
That's the problem. And if your motivation is for you to get that certificate, and I'm speaking to our listeners because I don't just, talk about this, I will also provide education along the way. I like my PhD credential, but I like more what I carry. When I was coming here, I didn't bring it. I don't have to bring it. If I move around, I don't have to. What you get from this education is what you are carrying on a daily basis. We found out our learners' motivation. We need to shift it from thinking that the certificate auto it to thinking that what they will learn, the ideas they will take there and apply will help them. That is a finding you can boast about. If you shape that, you will shape the way the person will go to school the next day.
That has been a paradigm shift in today's education. I can admit to that. In that, I can speak to that in that where you from people are interested in the documentation rather than imparting knowledge that tomorrow there will be a better representation of that family which they use his or her name at that school level.
That's the problem. It's a big problem. I told my staff, I have an organization I just started, that we will not reward you for your certificates. Your certificates are relevant. I have one. I have a PhD. You have masters or you have bachelors or something. I do. But your value you bring here and your contribution you make here and to the society, that is what the society should reward you. So and as much as we get different credentials, they are very important. What we are trying to encourage, especially learners, we are not telling you don't go for the higher certificate or higher certificates as much as we can get. But while getting those certificates, don't miss the main thing. Make the main thing the main thing. The main thing will mean that what you will know, what you will understand, what you'll be able to contribute, that will be your own giving to your society, is what will make you proud of yourself, will make you a proud citizen, and make you a proud human being. So again, in that research, we found out that the learning strategies that learners are using are not okay. What do? They memorize. Memorize and teach. What is science? Science is a systematic study of nature as far as they define it so fine. After the definition, 2 weeks later, what is science? It's gone. Learning is trying to make something a part of you that will contribute towards your transformation. Now, what is the implication of doing the research? And that's why we're pushing this. And I was in that education meeting. One of the points I told it's a big gathering of all education stakeholders that we have gotten the data from IMES. We have gotten the data from wire results. Why? Why it happened? We need to find out why it happened. That's what I continue to make the case with the hospital. I like the medical doctors. They don't treat us based on their opinions. We cannot address the issues in education now and moving forward based on what we just think will work. If we continue to do that, some of the results we want to get will not solve. So part of what we started this institution is to time commission studies to be able to encourage publishing. We are talking to partners and individuals to see students doing research at UL, at Cuttington, doing research at AMU and other areas. What about you do research on girls' education? Why is it that we still have some issue XYZ happening? And then you publish that work so that policymakers can read that and be more informed to be able to do that. And the problem they solve will be beyond pilot testing, the problem. So this is why we are trying to push at Free Liberia, trying to promote research solutions, trying to use research solutions to truly build the quality we can build, and also to help to inspire young people, make them to find reason that even in Liberia you can make it, that you can't just be disappointed in your country 100% and thinking that everybody is bad and everybody is this, that something can, as the long time saying, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Liberia has become one of Africa's Nazareths, and something good can come out of here. We have seen that before, and I think this current generation can also make better things to come out of this place. That is what we believe.
Two quick questions again, because time is fast spent actually. What programs are your organization? Okay, we understood that you were interested in the study that you did on Liberian students' academic performances. Please share with us the rationale and some important things. And second to that question is what program are the organization designing or for implementation to help the situation?
Very well, thank you. Now, like I said, we have 3 major pillars. Research solutions pillar. We want to make sure Liberia becomes a research country. A country that will prioritize finding the truth. We have marketed it to the extent that even sometimes people will not search for the facts and make conclusions. A society just operating like that sometimes can be bad. And people even take the say as if they were there when it happened. No, the world is advancing. And as we follow outside and even come and experience, as we see development in other places, we want to bring it to our place here, there are other things we can borrow. We can borrow those ideas, including finding out the true evidence to be able to bring that. So one of the programs we have is research programs. And as part of that, we want to have academic journals that will be able to publish research work, encouraging and training university students that will be able to publish some research work, and other partners who are also conducting studies in different areas. We have been doing even some online evaluations to be able to publish materials that people should start to speak based on research evidence. You speak more boldly. I show you right now what we found. This study was done in Monserrate and Market in 2 counties. Finding out that our learners like certificates, and that will not help them. So we can change it. We can train our teachers in a way that they will not just emphasize on grace, that somebody will go steal their money and pay for grace. Very unfortunate. That they will value what they get therein. We also have some programs providing training. In fact, we have just starting a school called a School of Value and Success. for people, in a way going beyond just providing theory to people. We want to share ideas that help us to come this far and are also driving us to move from one point to another. And that school of value and success is foundation on that when we do what successful people are doing, we can also be able to get the results they are getting. And if we don't do what they do, we don't get it even if we want them. So those are some of the programs that we are instituting at Free Liberia. Free Liberia is on the move to make a move. Of course, most of the time when we say Free Liberia, many people think it's a political stuff. No, we want to free Liberia from non-research, just operating, no research and stuff like that. And this is foundation for research, education and empowerment. It's an acronym, meaning Free Liberia is a non-political institution. It's basically educative entity that is contributing towards the transformation of the education system in particular.
Two quick last questions, huh? Because time is fast spent. What about your motivational and other training services you were providing for forever to ABC Radio? I remember the Champion Show. They're still on course. Then, of course, the last one is some key recommendation to transform the educational system?
All right. So we look forward to initiating and discussing with management as you have transitioned from that end to this end. And again, like I said from the intro, we want to applaud the management of ABC Radio for the platform given us. Then we produced over 20 editions of the Champion Show back in 2020, and I think starting of 2021, and it was quite wonderful. We continue to provide different motivational trainings through our seminar, and now we want to even build it into a school to train people, not just listen to something for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour alone. We continue that. Currently, we have a discussion with ELBC. So our program is on Metro. Metro is a substation of ELBC. We have our motivational program currently going on there, and our intention with that program is to make sure it can go nationwide, so that entity like this that is going wide now can be able to air that. Some community radios that just play sometime music the whole day can get some important content. These are things we should be giving to our people. They should feed on some things that will help them work more, do more what they do, and be able to contribute towards the country's development drive. Because we alone in Monrovia and county capitals, we can't change this country alone. We need collective efforts from every person who is in this nation playing their part, whether they're in West Point or in rural, Grand Crew or Maryland or Lofa. They can be able to play their part towards the contribution. So we continue that process, and like I said, we're trying to intensify that process of trying to inspire the nation through the motivational program that we have, the Champion Show on the UBC. We call it now Motivational Talk.
Motivational Talk. Okay, quick. On a 1 minute, can you give us the recommendation for the educational reform?
All right. So one major recommendation we have, first, we want to applaud the ministry and all those who are making efforts in education, playing your part to this process. It is our time to play and play well and do our part, so that history will remember us so well for what we've done for our country when the ball was thrown to us. It's like you're playing on the field, and if the ball is thrown to you as a striker, score the goal. You may not have a second chance to create that impression. So our recommendation is let us exert more efforts to be able to create strong system for the sector that will be able to create that transformation. And number one, we need to professionalize the teaching force. We need to introduce the process of trying to license our teachers so that they can feel more dignified, so they can feel more responsible, and we can use that as a means to motivate them. We need to focus on the foundation and putting in more resources in early childhood, training the teachers, and providing materials they need to help them. And finally, we need to focus on research.
We need to focus on research. You've been following us, the discussion alongside with Dr. Charles Bolly. He's the Executive Director of Free Liberia. He's a foundation for research, education, and empowerment for both sexes. So you can measure on a 3-4 minutes. We can just entertain your calls, whatever you have been following the discussion. You can call us now on 0777 105 100 and 0555 105 100. Call us. Let me get interactive. And those are you in the diaspora. You want to add up to our discussion here in studio educationally, because I know most of you over there, because the electoral something you always want to hear the election trouble. Then you call on us. But you can call now on our education. There's one good thing that he's want us to take home, that we have to pay more attention to our educationals, especially the instructor, to give them not much of a money, but it should be research based. If I got it correctly, all of our educational soldiers should be research based. So now you can call now. If you're educated or you intend going to that area, you can call and let's hear from you. Or you are there working alongside with him and you want to be part of the discussion, you can also call 0777 105 100 and 0555 105 100 number to call them, make it interactive. Let's talk to Dr. Body together, because I'm doing mine and you need to ask the question. Perhaps something you had on mind, you thought I would have asked and I didn't ask. It's now time for you to take advantage of the opportunity given you to be able to call now and make it interactive. Let's listen to you wherever you are in Monrovia. 0777 105 100 and 0555 105 100. Let's make it interactive and let me hear from you, Liberian, whatever you find yourself this afternoon. Let's call up. We're talking education here. We're not playing here. The children, that you can see, we're not playing. So you can call and let's make it interactive. Let's get to know what your mind is, or what is it. Okay, let's go to the first caller. Let's talk to this caller. Your name and where you calling us from?
Good afternoon. Olubanke King Akirele here, former Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Oh, madam, it's my pleasure to really be following us up to this time. Thank you very much for being the first caller.
Absolutely. I'm very proud of Dr. Bolin, the message, his motivation. He's a fine young man, and I like everything that he's talking about. We have collaborated together, and I want to highly commend his work and the interest in terms of spreading it throughout the nation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, madam, before you go, that strikes something very important. You said about education should be research based. Do you give your 100% to that too?
100%, and in fact, I intend to join forces and see how we can assist him through the Liberian Institute for Growing Patriotism.
Okay, madam, thank you very much for being part of our discussion today. Thank you too for tuning into ABC Radio.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, you can be like Madam Akirele. Yeah, call 210 105 100 and 0555 105 100. Yes, because this kind of discussion, I believe it is the older ones who do understand the intricacy and will always be part of it. So, yes, you can call now. Let's make it, because the time is not in our favor. Time is of essence in this broadcasting business. So, please, okay, let me just get two last calls. Then, of course, because my guest had to give a parting comment. I can't just allow him to walk out of the studio because of time factor. So, and with that, while we anticipating the last calls, you can conclude on perhaps I didn't ask something that it just came to mind when you were sitting there listening to me trying to activate the lines.
All right. Let me just comment briefly what Minister King Akirele said. She's one of the finest Liberians we have, and I'm not saying that because I just want to say it. I have worked with her over the past time, and she's one person that you see how passionate, very passionate she is in contributing towards the transformation of the country as much as possible and making different contributions. So we want to
okay, Daga, let me hold you there. Let me hold you there and take the other call because it's important. I must do the due diligence. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name and where you calling from?
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, let's hear you quickly. The time 9 in our favor, yeah.
I've called to make my little contribution, and my name is Mohammed Kane, and I speak to you from Ghana. I want to know from your guests whether we are discussing some key point on the issue of education aspect, but whether he makes a, let's say, a message is going across the branches, mainly or in the rural area, the Christian county, Mobi South on the other side. I think is it reaching across to the disabled, the visually impaired community institution to see and how bad the vision person who are physically challenged can be able to even grab the message so their mind can be transformed in an educational aspect.
Okay. Now, hold you there. Doc is listening. So, Doc, you can include that into your pattern because the time is actually against us.
All right. Thank you so much, caller. We appreciate that. And I was saying that thanks to the minister for calling and her support and mentorship over the past time. We have collaborated and we've seen the kind of work she also doing through the institute she has and other programs. In fact, there's a book. Sorry, maybe I should not say about this, but there's a book coming up that's talking about the compendium of the presidencies, trying to assess, you know, the presidents of the past, their contribution, their achievements, their challenges, the context, so we can be able to learn from them and improve the governance of our system.
Very much necessary.
And that is Impress is coming up, and we want to thank her for her support and mentorship. And to the gentleman that asks, our programs are open on the radio. For example, everyone has somehow access to the radio, and most of our programs, especially the motivational program we have right now on Metro radio is being aired, and other things that we are doing, and we want the program to go around the country. Our trainings also, most of our seminars are free, and we give people the opportunity to come and learn, and we also provide some resources. In fact, my 3 books, the electronic versions, are all free of charge. And if you're interested, visit our office at YWCA in Congo Town, where we are operating, and we'll be able to further talk to you. So again, I want to commend you and the management of ABC Radio for this great opportunities to be able to come on the radio and talk to something that matters most after serving God, education, because through education we can create the true transformation we need for our country. And what we do in education is going to affect, even as we go to elections, our education will be working through different centers. How far have we have been able to transform or deal with people who all be coming? We can just encourage all of us to put more attention, pay more attention, especially those of us given the authority to manage education. Let's do our best. Let's create a transformation that is needed to create change. We can do that by professionalizing the teachers, begin the licensing of teachers, investing more in early childhood, and making sure that we don't just operate on opinions, but rather we use research evidence to make intervention to help our nation to move forward.
That's the voice of Dr. Charles Bolly. He been my guest on the last segment. I want to say, Doc, thank you very much for taking your time off your busy schedule to actually create the platform of your president.
Thank you. We are always available to discuss matters as this.
And we look forward to seeing the motivational show here at ABC Radio.
Definitely. We look forward to discussing that, and as soon as we can get the go-ahead, we are ready to start the ball rolling.
That was my guest. And the next time you hear the voice will be on Thursday. But tomorrow, Anthony Jiffan and Dr. Theo William will be here to give you more education, more entertainment, and of course, a more, proverbial statement here. So thank you for being there. Have a pleasant evening. My name is J. Nutwa Wanda, and I've been your lone host here, my able, what you call him, producer. Tomorrow is his birthday, so I will close out here. I'll close up with a music, or dancing music that we'll all be dancing to his pre-birthday celebration tomorrow. And Mr. Editor, can you please allow me to give you this pre-birthday music? Let we enjoy ourselves, while walking out of this building, singing and dancing to your birthday. You can't know whether you're 13-year-old tomorrow or you're 12-year-old. But it'll be child abuse to have you in the studio when you're 13 years old.